Hi there, this is my channel, Giardia Walks. In the year 2024, I will embark on an epic walking journey across the United States. My plan is to walk 8,000 miles across the US 3 times, via the Appalachian Trail, the Pacific Crest Trail, and the Continental Divide Trail. In the hiking world, this is known as a calendar year Triple Crown, and has only been completed by a handful of people in history. I plan to post weekly updates along the way, so you can join me for the journey.
Usually try to include anything that is stuff that you wouldn't be able to cook on trail, or that you wouldn't necessarily get in a restaurant, at least. Something that you might get at grandma's house.
One of the great things about farmland is that it more or less has to be flat to get those tractors across it. And so today I'm looking at a good chunk of flatter terrain. So I think this is going to be the flattest terrain I've hit so far on the hike. Something I've noticed on the East Coast that really impresses me is like all these towns that you hit as you come into them, not all, but a surprising number have massive rivers flowing through, like rivers that are a quarter mile wide or look like a fifth of a mile wide. And so I'm going to pause here real quick so you can see what I'm talking about. So look at the bridge that I'm on. It's like I don't know, it just could be a bridge in any little town, right? But look at what it's over. And so here's where I'm going to make the point. This, what I would refer to as a big river, is called Sherman's Creek. To Pennsylvania, this is a creek. Because the real river, the one I'm referring to that's a fifth of a mile wide, is out there beyond that bridge. And that mountain way over there, that's the other side of the river. So this is just a tributary feeding into the river. You can see it's flowing from left to right out there. It's going. Walking under a bridge is one of life's subtle pleasures. I really want to investigate the puppy parlor. Still standing by my position that the rocks are basically zero problem in Pennsylvania. We'll continue to see if that changes. But two things that I found add some challenge in Pennsylvania are, one, that the shelters in this state are positioned much farther apart so far than they have been in previous states. So the shelter that I stayed at last night was like 6 miles back, and it's another 12 miles from where I am now to the next shelter. So that's 18 miles between shelters. Another challenge with Pennsylvania is that the water sources are far apart. So the last shelter I stayed at, it was near a water source, but you had to walk down a staircase where the steps were maybe 2.5 feet tall for 0.2 miles. So you walked about 2/3 of the way down off the entire foothill just to get down to where there's a stream flowing. And then once you get your water, you turn around, you walk right back up, and at the top of that stone staircase is your shelter. It's like, wow, it's dry out here. Just taking a little resting break at what I call the Georgia Creek. I haven't really recorded that many videos in the last couple of days. I've been kind of like dealing with like a stomach bug of some kind that has like pulled the energy out of me a little bit and given me kind of like, I don't know, like I have like a mild headache right now. And it's definitely bad enough that it's slowing me down, but I found like if I just slow my pace down and take more breaks, I'm still able to move during the day. Believe it, this area is actually flooded by the beaver dam. And there's fish. Alrighty. We're gonna have to put the camera up and get the trekking poles out. Crossing this beaver dam area is the funnest thing I've done on the entire Appalachian Trail. Look at this challenge. I just came down that log, hopping off on this log, and I'm gonna make it over to that marsh, but I came from over there. Forecast did not start raining until maybe 7, but if it comes sooner, you know, that could mean 5 a.m. and I could still be in camp or asleep. And so there's no shelters. They're so spread out here that there's no chance for me to make a shelter tonight. And so I literally got it in my head that, you know, I just got water here. This is where I was planning for the last couple of miles to camp, was right around this water source. And I just think in my head, okay, well, let's start looking for camping spots. Hopefully I can find something soon, because it can sometimes take a while. Look at this. Hold on, I'm gonna cut the camera. This river flows under this bridge, perfectly flat concrete with a wind block wall. And if it does rain, I have a roof. I'm so happy right now. So hiking through this morning now, I left that stone bridge back there. It was just so nice sleeping there, and it didn't actually rain last night, but I felt very safe sleeping under it. Nothing to report right now other than I'm like walking under this stunning bridge, and I just wanted to capture it on film real quick because it's actually really pretty. I'm doing the thing that I critique, like how other channels are like, look at this tree, look at this bridge, but look at this bridge. Oh, there's a tree over there too. Look at this river. But it really is pretty. Every now and then you got to do it. Just quickly noting that the rain, in fact, did arrive today. It just arrived about 3 hours after the forecast. So not that bad though. I've had like a couple of weeks without rain. I feel like that kind of softened me up a little bit since my start. First month or so, there's a lot of precipitation. So it's almost like an old friend coming back to say hi. Still moving down the trail today. I took a pause at that last shelter to eat, I guess, lunch and take a break out of the rain. The thermometer back there was saying that it was 40 degrees Fahrenheit, which is colder than I thought, but I felt really cold. And then it's funny, the next shelter here today is just 4 miles down the trail. And it's like sometimes like 12 or 15 miles between these shelters, and then they stick 2 within 4 miles of each other. Like, things like that really hurt my brain, but it's okay. Another thing, I forget how much I've been bringing it up, but I've been battling with is like some kind of what seems to be viral infection, but like a stomach sickness. I feel like I look pretty haggard right now, but if I don't, I feel haggard. It's been going on, I think, for 5 days now. I didn't really realize it till I got back on trail a couple of days ago, but the symptoms are your typical flu-like symptoms, plus I would say like muscle aches, like in my neck and my back. And then, you know, as I hike on trail, 2 things that kind of are on my mind that I would like to avoid if possible are meningitis, which can kill you, and Lyme disease, which can kill you. I haven't really heard of a hiker getting meningitis, but I don't know, just for whatever reason. I feel like that's one of those modern sicknesses that can really get you quickly. Anyway, I looked up the symptoms that I had in terms of I looked up the symptoms of meningitis, and all of my symptoms matched it. But then it's funny because I then looked up the symptoms of norovirus, and they're the same as the symptoms of meningitis, with the addition that meningitis includes light and sound sensitivity. But who's ever had a fever and not been sensitive to light and sound? And then those symptoms also match your typical flu, and they also match COVID. So I always found sickness symptoms pretty funny because they're basically all the same thing. And then no matter what, whoever it is, the website, they say if you're experiencing some of these or any of these, seek medical attention immediately. Again, it's like killer trees. It's kind of a CYA, cover your butt. I think they should include something like, if your symptoms worsen consistently over a couple of days, seek medical attention, because otherwise it's a little overblown in my opinion. But the key thing for me now is my symptoms have been getting better day by day. The biggest thing I'm battling out here is lethargy, just kind of like a lack of energy. You'll see it if you monitor your heart rate hiking uphill. If I'm going really hard, kind of the point where my brain is like, okay, sit on your feet and let your heart rate come down, is right around 145, high 140 beats per minute. And when I'm sick on trail, that heart rate comes quickly. It could come early in the day. It could come on a not very steep hill. And so when you're trying to do some kind of, athletic pursuit when you're sick, and your body just shuts down. Again, I'm not a doctor. I don't really know what I'm talking about, but a big part of it, I suspect, just from monitoring my body as I'm hiking a lot, is your heart rate is that limiting factor. And when you're sick, it skyrockets. Even on when you're doing your warm-up activities, things that would normally be easy for you become where you break down. So anyway, I'm moving down trail slower than I have been, but battling the sickness. Most of the symptoms have gone, but the one that's really with me today, was with me until I would say midday today, was the lethargy. That seems to be more gone now, I'm hoping, at least more so than it has been in the last couple of days. I feel like I have more energy as of this afternoon. But I definitely still have the problem of kind of mild nausea in my stomach, to where I really, my appetite is more or less non-existent. I'm still eating, but I'm eating about half the calories I've normally been eating. But that's about all I can get down, because I think I would actually throw up if I ate more than that. And so I'm just kind of walking lower intensity, and I think I'm just burning more, residual body fat to make up the calories that I need. So anyway, my plan is to take an easier day today, stop at the next shelter, have another night of sleep, and I'm hoping I'll feel better tomorrow morning. Maybe I feel like a good person again, because the nausea part is killing me. It's so hard to hike hard if you're not eating enough. And the next town, Port Clinton, I think I'll hit that tomorrow afternoon or evening. I think I'm going to try and snag a hotel in town, because there's no hostels. And I might try to go to an AM PM clinic and get blood work done, just to confirm whatever it is that I have. I'm honestly curious, but at the point that I've been sick for 4 or 5 days, which for me is not normal, I really kind of do want to confirm that it's not something bad, because my concern is, if I don't do it in Port Clinton and it just continues, it's it might be 4 more days before I hit another town. And so I guess we'll see how I'm feeling tomorrow, but got all that going on top of whatever else I got going on. So that's the update for today so far. So I made a wrong turn. This is the only wrong turn on the Appalachian Trail I'm happy that I made, because there's this spillway right here with this deep green lagoon. I mean, the camera doesn't quite show it, but that water is crystal clear. There's a rope swing. It's miserable and cold out, so obviously there's no interest in jumping in, but what a beautiful place. You can look right in the water. If you had goggles, you could look, wow. That's the clearest lake I've ever seen. Holy cow, talk about a dangerous road crossing. Oh my god, I can't believe this place. It's so awesome. So it's the 501 shelter. So there's I haven't met them yet, but there's a custodian that lives in an actual house right over there next door. It's a 4-walled enclosed shelter with a dome for light inside. So many little details that I saw in the first 3 seconds of walking in here. The main one is, so I read just before I came here online that there's a pizza place that delivers pizza to this shelter. And then I was thinking in my head, okay, yeah, I'm definitely gonna do that. But in my head, I was thinking, there's gonna be a pizza box left over and that's gonna be annoying to carry out, but I'll do it, right? And it says right here, stack pizza boxes here under this table. So they'll recycle them for you. So, oh my God, this is so nice. I'm so happy. Look at this. Just sorry for a moment. I'm gonna step back to the side of the room so you can really get a sense of like how big this room is and what it looks like. Like bunk beds. You could put your mattress on your bunk bed. And then they've got board games back in the corner, which I'm personally not into, but you know, luckily there's no one else here. Yeah, this is so cool. Oh my God, this is so nice. I could, like, honestly, I'm a weirdo. I could even sleep on this table under this dome. That sounds cool to me. It's not supposed to rain tonight. It's supposed to rain sometime around 6 in the morning. But it would be so cool if it was raining to hear the rain dripping on that and to like sleep on this tabletop under the rain. Oh my God. I hope it rains tonight. That would give me such goosebumps. Anyway. Oh, and then there's water outside at the house next door. And I just need to order the pizza because they said to do it before 8 p.m., which is approaching. So anyway, miserable couple of days hiking with this illness, but little things like this, oh my God, so nice. Anyway, I feel good right now. So, quick update. Sorry for the pots rattling in the back. So I had good luck this morning heading out from the Appalachian Trail shelter. The rain stopped falling maybe 15 minutes before I got up to leave, which is awesome because if you think about it, and it hadn't stopped raining, you know, let's say until 15 minutes after I left, I would have then been wet. And then that wetness would probably just now be drying off. So I would have been wet all day, even if it had just been the first 15 minutes. So a big break my way this morning, which was nice. As far as my sickness, I'm definitely transitioning out of having it. I would say today I felt pretty good compared to the last few days. Made it to Port Clinton, trying to figure out where I'm supposed to go. The tracks just dead-ended at this, the trail just dead-ended at these train tracks. So every now and then when you're hiking on trail, there are these like sight detours, and it's pretty common that I'll not turn off for them, but every now and then when they're special, I actually will. And so, when you're in cities, you have similar kind of detours occasionally. And this place is one of them. I've been told about it many times living elsewhere in the United States. And that place is... And so anyway, my experience before has been, you know, you're living elsewhere in the United States, you meet someone who's from like Philadelphia or Pennsylvania, and then they ask you, have you ever been to a Wawa or Wawas? And I'm like, what? You know, like I'd never even heard of it. And then, you know, people kind of go through the thing where they're like floored, like, oh my God, you haven't been to Wawa's? And I'm like, no, I haven't. And like, I've had this experience happen, I would say 3 times or more, maybe a handful of times. And so it's definitely a thing that like East Coasters and especially people from, it seems to be from Pennsylvania, are really proud of it. So when people try to sell me on it, I'm like, okay, well, explain what it is exactly. And they're like, oh, well, it's like a gas station, but it has food. And I'm like, but all gas stations have food? And like, well, no, it's not like normal food. It's like, you know, like good takeout food. And I'm like, oh, okay. So it's like a gas station, but it has like fast food, but it's not as good as fast food. And they're like, exactly. I'm like, I don't know. I'd rather have a gas station and then have fast food that's better than gas station fast food. So I'm perplexed mentally, but let's go see what this place is and if it's actually good or not. Okay, I couldn't bring myself to order that. I get it though. It's cool. Like, it's not a normal gas station. It's definitely big. Okay. But I do stand by my statement that it's like fast food that's just not as good as fast food at other places. So I was thinking, for the sake of the experience, I should just order it and eat it, just so that I have done it. But I've been like hiking for 4 or 5 days in the woods. I'm not trying to, like, I don't know, broaden my gas station culture right now. So I'm gonna make the calories count, go get what I want.
This is the canoe trip only.
Okay.
I have 2 canoe trips. I also left Portland, Oregon, the mouth of the Columbia River.
Okay.
8 rivers, 2 creeks, and a canal system later, I was in New York City with a canoe.
That's amazing. And so the first trip, though, was, you said, from Maine
No,
to
first
Cuba?
trip was from Staten Island.
Oh, Staten Island.
Staten Island, New York. Okay. Down the coastline to, I was going to LA. I had a permit to go through the Panama Canal and everything with it. But what happened is it got all mixed up with getting captured in Cuba.
Yeah.
See, I ended up in Cuba accidentally. Well, yeah. The Gulf Stream. I was going across the Gulf.
Right. So you're...
From Key West to Yucatan Peninsula.
Are you following the intercoastal waterways?
Most of the way,
Okay,
except
yeah.
for there. I was, instead of going up around Louisiana and stuff and down back into Texas and south again.
Yeah.
Okay. I said, oh hell, I'm going across this sucker. Across the Gulf.
Yeah.
Key West to the Yucatan Peninsula.
Okay.
You know, Mexico.
Yeah. And then I guess you're island hopping.
And what happened was the Gulf Stream pushed me into Cuba.
So what happens next?
Well, I was in prison. I was captured there.
Very few people have ridden in a makeshift dinghy from Florida to Cuba. Not from, everyone goes from Cuba to Florida.
Yeah,
That's a wild story.
No,
Yeah.
I did, and you have to understand politics and stuff. You got to remember that here I am I made it under the radar and everything. Okay, and I'm on land in Cuba. Well, Fidel Castro wasn't happy that an American made it across on land and wasn't detected.
It's such a story.
It gets bigger and bigger. Then I'm in jail there, okay, with 6 of the most wanted men from the United States, all high. I'm talking Lester Perry, who did the Great Boston car robbery and derailed railroad cars and stuff, and Chico Miles, who arranged the Annis Davis courthouse shooting. But I'm in prison with all these people.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I'm released. I'm the only person that has been in prison with these people. There's people that have been there and got charged with things, but they tried to get me for espionage. Why? Here's a canoe into Cuba. 2 paddles, 2 life jackets, 2 of everything. Okay, but only 1 person. See, now that, if you look at it that way, that changes the whole story. It's just not that I just went to Cuba. Well,
yeah.
Here I am. They don't know whether I was whether I dropped somebody off or I was going to pick somebody up.
Were you thinking these were spares, though? Like, in case you lost something at sea, you would have a backup life jacket or a backup oar? That's what it was for, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
And that's why I used a canoe. Kayaks weren't that popular. This is in the 70s. Kayaks weren't that popular, but they were still too small for me. You needed more room for...
Canoe's scary because if it gets water in it, you've got to bail it out to keep it afloat.
Oh, yeah, man.
Yeah.
Oh, you'll read about that, man.
Yeah.
I was in 2 hurricanes with a canoe.
Oh, my God. That's amazing. Okay, I'm literally going to order this book and read it. Yeah.
No, I'm going to give it to you.
Oh, amazing. Thank you. I'll read it on the trail.
I went to... I thought I had a pen there. I thought there was a pen.
Oh, there was. Right.
I'm one of the very few people to have a revolutionary tribunal trial from Fidel Castro for espionage.
Yeah. And they let you go because what you were doing while it was brave and daring was not actually espionage. So, you know, you were able to get to have the full experience,
Well,
but then you get off maybe a little
I had a
easily.
trial and everything there. I was there for 46 days.
What an experience.
What date's today?
I think it's the 29th. Let me look. It's covered. Hold on a second.
Oh, yeah.
Yep, Friday the 29th.
So it's 4/29.
3/29.
Or 3/29.
Yep.
'24. Right?
Yep, correct. Learned when you hear what sounds like car alarms going off in the forest that it's actually a bunch of toads singing in a pond. And I can hear that car alarm happening right now. So I'm predicting that there's a pond up here. We'll see. So I come right over this hill and I come upon these two squirrels fighting. I mean, not like rolling, but, you know, kind of like quibbling. And they both see me at the same time, spring onto the same tree and rotate around the tree to be on the other side of the tree and stay dead still as I walk past. Such a funny sight to see them fighting and then immediately assess there's a bigger threat. Hop and share the same side of the tree and don't fight each other. I realized in that moment the only hope for peace on Earth is for aliens to attack it. Okay, Roxylvania. I get it now. But it's still not so bad that the name is warranted. This is like as bad as it gets. I can tell you right now, this is as bad as it's gonna get. I can feel it. It's not gonna get any worse than this. So a follow-up comment on Wawa, the gas station. I did go back in and got a few things on my way out of town. And in particular, what I got were donuts, okay? And I just had 3 of them this morning. And I think I want to come back and revisit my original opinion that I expressed, which when people describe what Wawa is, it's like a gas station, but it has food, you know? My immediate response was, okay, so it sounds like it's a gas station that has food that's not as good as other places that serve food, fast food. And so now having been there and now having eaten some of its food, that's exactly what it is, okay? And so I had donuts for breakfast this morning from Wawa. And if your basis for comparison on the donuts is other little mini ring donuts that come in that plastic packaging, you know, like the powdered or chocolate covered donuts, I could see why you would argue that the Wawa donuts are better. They probably are. But like, I'm the sort of person where when I wake up on Saturday morning or Sunday morning and I think to myself, I want a donut, what I don't do is go to somewhere like Wawa because I need gas and then say, oh, you know what? I think I'll get a donut because I'm here already. No, what I do is I wake up in the morning and I say, oh, I need gas and I want a donut. So let me go to the gas station that's near the donut shop and then I get a really phenomenal donut and then I get gas. Like, it's 2 stops, it takes 2 minutes of my time, and it's a much better experience. But for other people whose level of laziness is, I guess, exceeds mine, the discomfort of going to a donut shop and getting a proper donut would be the overriding experience that morning. So their joy is stopping at something like a Wawa and then getting a substandard donut because it meant they didn't have to drive 3 or 4 more minutes to another shop to get like an actually excellent donut. So I can't relate to that, but you know, there are, I assume, many people out there who maybe subconsciously operate that way and love Wawa, and I'm happy that Wawa's there for you guys. So, Wawa. All right, you gotta see this. I mean, if you look about, I don't know, 10 feet over there, I tripped. I think it was that rock, that big one back there. My right foot went on it and it slipped. It may have even been further back. No, I think it was that one. So I slipped on that rock and I fell to the ground. Here, this is where I fell to the ground. That rock is 10 feet away. So I slid and lost total balance, tried to regain with my left foot. My pack shifted to the left and just pulled me over. And then look at the rocks on the ground. There's nothing to step on. So I just lost my balance about 4 steps in a row trying to keep it. Just total loss of control. And I fell on my back on my pack, luckily. But look how far away that is. Okay, I'm approaching Palmerton, and my stomach issues are off the charts right now. So I'm gonna get off trail and go to an urgent care and hopefully get a diagnosis with whatever's going on and medication that can help me with it, because I cannot continue hiking for right now. I'm not quitting the trail or anything, but the progress is so insanely slow. So like, recap of my conditions is for 8 days, I've been battling what I think is Giardia, but it started as a fever, exhaustion, back and neck, what's it called? Like just freezing up of the muscles in my neck and back. Just even the smallest hill spikes my heart rate. And my like appetite doesn't even matter to me, but I basically haven't had an appetite for a week. So I'm still eating the calories. It's like, okay, I'm not hungry. Okay, eat the food. Who cares? You know? And yeah, just digestive issues to keep it, the descriptions as clean as possible, have been ongoing for a week. And all my reading on everything lines up with, I think, Giardia, which is a bacterial infection typically received by ingesting contaminated water. And I'm drinking creek water, hiking a marathon a day, 7 days a week. I don't have weekends. Hiking a marathon 7 days a week is already a hard task, but doing that on top of waking up and just feeling like dead, not having energy, and still doing it, mixed in with having to take, bathroom breaks, like 3 bathroom breaks in the last hour. Like, what the hell? It's too much. Like, it wouldn't be feasible for me to complete this whole hike, the whole County Triple Crown, if this problem continues. Like, I could continue hiking, but it's miserable and it's too slow to succeed. So I've been fighting every urge to get off trail for the last week, thinking this will clear itself up, but it's been a week now. And it's getting worse. It's still here and it's getting worse, so I'm gonna get off trail. I mean, that's the best thing I can do. And I think even though it feels wrong not moving, everything about me wants to move down trail. I think the fastest thing I can do is sit still and go get this diagnosis and maybe get medicine. So I made it to the urgent care. The doctors didn't really do a diagnosis, but did the recommended next step was to prescribe me antibacterial medication on the suspicion that I might have a bacterial infection in my colon. And so that's a 3-day process. I just took one pill, and I will say that it's probably a placebo effect, but I already feel better. And then since it was 3 p.m. when I left there, I just booked a motel in town, and I'm just taking today as a rest day. And then I'll reassess in the morning how I'm feeling. But I'm just taking today as a rest day. And I found this amazing motel. I'm so happy with it. I don't even know what it's called or even what town I'm in. I think actually it's called Lethargy is the town. But it's right here on the edge of the Appalachian Mountains, and it's just cool to see them from a perspective down in the city looking up. I asked for a room on the back side of the motel, which has a view of the mountain. You can see right out the window. It's just straight vertical. So kind of cool, I think. I walked, where's my finger? So I walked right along that ridge line coming this way this morning. So feels good to be down here in civilization for a day. So finally, after 3.5 days of lying on my side, I'm leaving the town of Lethargy, getting back on trail. I think I'll probably give a full update on that once I'm on the trail. Glad to be walking again. How amazing is this room? Alrighty, holy cow, I am back on trail. I'm not sure if I even filmed that many videos for the 3.5 days that I was just off trail. But basically, and I don't keep track of time, something like 10 days ago, I started to notice like a depletion of energy. I had a fever, muscle soreness, upset stomach, just a lot of different bad symptoms. And, was kind of running through my own diagnoses. And it would get better, and then it would get worse. And my typical approach to getting sick is I let myself just be sick, and my body usually gets better within like 3 to 5 days. But like hypothetically, if my body's still sick and it's getting worse after 5 days, that's not normal. And so like I haven't been to a doctor in probably 10 years. And so anyway, I got off trail, and not even at a spot. I'm gonna pause because I have to go up this hill. It's pretty nasty looking. So anyway, I got off trail to go to an urgent care because basically for the last 6 days, it was crazy. It was like my brain was telling me that I wanted to quit hiking, but I knew rationally if my brain's telling me that I want to quit, then there's something wrong with my body because there's no way that I would ever want to quit. And so additionally, I would be hiking for 12 miles, 14 miles in a day, and it took every bit of effort to even get that out to keep me going on trail. And I would be within the first mile of the day, I would be sitting on the ground, just huffing, heart rate racing, feeling awful. Any hill would destroy me. I mean, it was it was wild. But so for 6 days, more or less in that condition, I was hiking days where I would go 23 or 24 miles. I had a 28-mile day, but then I would have like 12-mile days or 14-mile days. And eventually, once the symptoms were just getting worse, I was like, whoa, this is something kind of serious. And so I went to an urgent care and, ran through the questionnaire from the doctor, and his diagnosis was, it's most likely a bacterial infection in my stomach. Secondarily, it could be, I think the second most likely category was that it was a parasite, something like a tapeworm or something else. And then the third most likely would be that it was viral. And so rather than go through like body sampling where you specifically identify it, he thought it made most sense to just go with antibiotics off the start, thinking that would be the fastest route considering that I'm trying to move quickly on trail. And that's what I was thinking as well. And so I took 3 days of antibiotics and I literally stayed in a motel. I was thinking every day I'm gonna get right back on trail tomorrow, but I couldn't do it. There was such little energy in my body. If anyone's ever gotten sick before with the flu and then you like go and try and play a game of soccer or something after, like, a day or two after you've recovered from being sick, it's like there's no energy in your body. That's exactly how I felt. And so there was basically no point in getting back on trail just to squeeze my way through a 10-mile day if that's all I could do. It made more sense to me to just like literally lie on my side for 3 days. And so, standing still was the fastest way for me to move at that point. So I spent 3.5 days off trail, staying in this motel, and kind of funnily, those 3 days it was like monsoon raining and temperatures below 40, which is the kind of weather that would kind of like almost want to put you off trail, even if you weren't sick. And so luckily it lined up with that. And today was supposed to be rainy, but it's good. I was going to hike today, even if it was rainy. But anyway, so I'm back on trail. The symptoms as of today are all gone. So I'm hoping things get better, but we'll see. I was kind of like so sick that I wasn't really interested in doing anything. But in terms of like documenting stuff, it's, in video, I was just like lying there on my side. So the one nice thing was the last day that I was sick, I was kind of more in like recovery mode. And so I actually ended up editing all my videos to get caught up to where I am on trail, which is a bit of a load off my shoulders. And then I'm thinking going forward, at some point I might switch to actually doing daily videos, which in my opinion reduces the quality of the videos because I can't really tell as nuanced of a story, like when I'm doing week-long videos. But I think it's easier to upload them daily, a lot easier. So I might actually switch to doing daily videos for a while, just to give myself a bit of a break. But anyway, I'm back on trail. It's felt almost like a break from school or a break from life, and feels like going on spring break and then, or summer break, and then you're excited to go back to school as a kid. Like, man, that last week of hiking was miserable. And it was so funny because it was the easiest stretch of hiking, but it was so miserable. But I'm like a racehorse excited to be back on trail. So hoping things turn around. I'm now pushing, I think it's my last 40 miles of Pennsylvania. And then I don't even know where the Appalachian Trail goes. I think it's New Jersey next and then New York. So, we'll see how it goes.